Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna take a look at how we are gonna create this toy factory looping animation. So I've created this animation a while ago, and in the last video I asked you guys if you would like a tutorial on this, and some of you said yes. So today we're gonna take a look at how we can create something like this. So in the first part of the tutorial we are gonna take care of the scene. So we are gonna model all the things that you see in here. In the second part we're gonna take care of the animation, so we're just gonna make everything move and be dynamic. And then in the last part we're gonna cover how to make this look nice, so lighting and post-processing. Alright, so I pulled up this still image inside of PureRef, and I'm gonna use this as a reference, so I know. So I'm basically just going to recreate what I've already done a while ago. So if the end result from today is not looking exactly spot on like this one, just remember that I'm pretty much recreating something I've done like a year ago, so it's bound to be a little bit different. So let's just start. And what we want to do first is take care of this main element, which is like this track that moves the pillows left to right. And what you want to do, because this is gonna be a looping animation, we are going to take care of those and create them in like specific dimensions. That way it's gonna be a lot easier to make sure that everything lines up at the end and it's looping perfectly. So I'm inside of Blender. I'm going with a FPS of 30, 180, you know the drill. Right now I'm in Eevee, but I'm gonna switch to cycles at some point. So just go ahead, create a cube and move that upwards to make sure the origin is at the bottom. And one thing I want to do before I continue is to go ahead and enable the screen, like the screencast. How the hell am I doing this? So it was from around here, yeah, like this. And now you can see everything that I'm pressing, and I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so you can see everything I'm doing. All right, so you just created this cube, make sure the origin is at the bottom, and now I'm gonna resize this a little bit. So if I'm looking at this, I want to make this, 2 meters is fine. As you can see, this is 2 by 2 by 2, and this is all right. But what I want to do right now is scale it down on the Z-axis, and I'm gonna make it about 20 centimeters. Just make it half a meter, like this. I guess even bigger could work. Let's just make it 1 meter for safety reasons, just to make sure we have enough room to work with. And I'm gonna make this a little bit tighter, so I'm gonna do something like this. Now let's just go with 1.5, 1.3. Yeah, I guess this is working all right. And right now I can just delete those faces, because, and this one as well, because we are just pretty much going to do something like this to get everything, to get the measurements. So let's just work on this single piece, and then we are gonna extend left to right. All right, so the next thing we have is like this little extrude parts, and those are really easy to create. So basically I'm gonna make a loop cut in the middle. I'm gonna go Control B to bevel this, and the thing is I just want to have two loop cuts in the same with the same length to the sides. So the easiest way is to just make a loop cut in the middle, bevel it, and just move this along, and now you have two identically equally sides. So this and this, and this is exactly what I wanted. Now we're gonna make a bunch of loop cuts in this direction, and those are gonna be this is gonna be like the stuff that's coming out. And the way you do this is select all those faces and double press I. So press I once, you get this, but if you press I one more time, you get this, and this is what we want. Now just insert this a little bit in like this, yeah. And now I'm just gonna extrude those faces upwards a little bit, so perhaps like a 1 centimeter. That seems all right. And now we have this, which is exactly what we wanted. And if I go and duplicate this, it looks just fine. So we get this, and this is exactly what we wanted. All right, so now that we have gotten this piece out of our way, let me just save the project. I'm gonna go on desktop and save this as tutorial. Yeah, that's fine. All right, now that we've gotten this out of our way, let's just take care of this little edge here, and that's just a plane, you guessed it. I'm gonna move this up a little bit, so let's just move it half meter up, so 0.5, that's all right. And I'm going to move this, yeah, perhaps something like this. So now we have the dimensions are lined up. As you can see, the edges are lined up perfectly, because this is 2 meters on the X and this is 2 meters on the X as well, and that's just what we wanted. Let me just create a camera real quick. And so the way you jump directly into the camera is by pressing numpad 0. You can see it right here. And now I'm gonna press N, I'm going to view, lock camera to view, and now I can move around as you normally do in Blender, but the camera follows you. And this is a really easy way to set up your camera. So what I want to do right now is go into the camera settings and go with a bigger focal length. So I'm gonna go maybe with a 90 to get some of that zoomed in look that I really like. And let's just position the camera in a close way, like that one. So I know, let's have it around, let's have it kind of like this, and now it looks all right for now. Press N again and disable this, and now I can move away from the camera. I'm gonna do this one, right. And now that I have the camera in position, I can more easily just make sure that everything is looking right, because I'm now seeing whatever the final view is gonna see. So what I want to do right now is duplicate this in those 2 directions to get to cover the whole frame, and I'm gonna do the same thing for this plane right here. So now we have something that's looking like this. And what else? Okay, let's deal with the background, which is a simple plane that's inclined downwards. So for that, come on, what's going on? Okay, thank you. So for that, I'm just gonna create a new plane once again. I'm gonna make sure that the pivot is at the one of the edges, basically. So I'm gonna move it like that, and now I have this around here, and I'm gonna position it somewhere around this area. I'm gonna go, actually I'm not gonna go down yet, because let me think a bit. I think it's easier to just keep it straight like this, and then add the lights. And once we have all of that, then do the inclining, because it's just easier to work with stuff that's straight and it's not in a slope. So what I'm gonna do, lower this a bit, and I'm gonna size this. I'm gonna make this larger on the x axis. So I'm pressing S, then X to only scale it on the x axis, and go, I don't know, by 4. I'm applying the rotation scale now that I've changed the scale, and I'm also going to increase the size on the y axis by 2, like this, just so I have enough room to work with. Alright, and now I can move this a little bit towards the edge right here. I can also even go a little bit more to that side, because I can't see it from the camera view, so I don't really care about that. And let me think. Alright, so we have all of that in place. What I want to do right now is add some of those cylinders. So those are pipes, wires, whatever the hell you want to call them, whatever the hell you want them to be. So what I'm gonna do is add a cylinder, make sure that the cap fill is set to nothing, because I don't see the end, so I don't care about that. I'm smoothing that out, and again I'm gonna make the pivot be on the bottom side, and I'm gonna move this around here. I'm gonna make it a lot thinner, like this. Yeah, now I'm just gonna rotate it by 90 degrees, put it on top of our plane like that, and I'm gonna scale this up like so. All right, and now we have a one of those pipes. Look at it, it's so beautiful. I'm gonna make it a little bit thinner once more, so something like that. And now I'm just gonna duplicate this like so, one more time over here, and one more time over there, one more time over there. Just add details around. Yeah, just be creative. You don't have to follow 100% what I'm doing. You know, if you want more pipes, if you want another pipe over there, feel free to do whatever the hell you want. This is we are creating art, so everything you want to do, feel free to do it. No one has the right to stop you if you want another pipe over there, or even a pipe over here like this. You know, if you want it, you can have it. So for the sake of the tutorial and of the argument, let's just add another pipe right next to the tracks. Yep, like that. That looks fine. Let me just copy it even like this. Let's just go away from our reference a little bit, just to have fun. You know, it's important to have fun and feel good about what the hell you're doing in here. Alright, so I'm gonna keep it that way. And right now what I want to do is let's add some of those lights. So for the lights, that's just a where is it? Let's go with a round cube, so we don't have any problems in the poles. So I'm grabbing this, I'm adding a level 1 subdivision, smoothing this up. So by going control and one of the numbers, you set up a subdivision level of the number we are pressing. You get the idea. Alright, let me... Well, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go into edit mode, and I'm going to delete all the faces from the half part of the bottom. So just delete those faces, so we have this like, what's it, like a hemisphere, I think it's called. I don't know, you get the idea. Yep, and I'm just going to put this on the same level as basically this plane. So I'm gonna go like this, put it over there, and now I'm gonna scale it down until I like its size. I think that's an alright size for a light bulb. I guess we can make it a little bit bigger. So 1.1, apply the scale. Now we have a light. So we have this, which is nice. Let's just go and place it over there. Let me see, can you see it? Let's just go a bit more in that direction so you can see it well in the camera view. Yep, I like that. And let's see, we're gonna go and I'm gonna duplicate this, move it on the x-axis, and I'm gonna duplicate it. I know, let's go with 8.5 distance between each one of them. Is that all right? You know what, let's go a little bit bigger. Let's go with a 0.8.7. Yep, let's go with 8.7. And right now, if you press Shift R, you're duplicating the last action you've done, so that's really convenient, like so. And I'm gonna do another copy. So what was that, 0.7 was it? Yeah, but on the negative, so we have one over there in case we need that. Now I'm gonna select all of those, and I'm gonna go and copy them in this direction. So 0.5, I guess that's all right. And let's do Shift R a couple of times until they go out of frame. And now we can see that our pipes are going through the lights, so I'm gonna select them. I'm actually gonna select only these two, and I'm gonna move them a little bit up like this until they are not intersecting with the lights anymore. Alright, so we have this scene so far, and we are advancing really nicely. We're moving pretty fast, which is always great. Alright, so this is our scene so far. Let's take care of this. I don't know, it's this like an arm, the thing that's gonna squeeze the pillows when it moves to the right. So for that, we go and create a cylinder. I'm focusing on it. I'm gonna go with the pivot all the way down, as I've done it a couple of times. I'm gonna rotate it by 90 degrees like so, and now I can look from the sides like this. I'm gonna make this smaller, and I'm gonna put it above our tracks like so. Yep, that looks fine. I'm gonna shade smooth, and I'm gonna actually rotate it 180 degrees to be on this part. No, actually it was alright that way. And now I'm gonna move it where I want it to be, so I think that's where I want this arm to be, and the arm can be a little bit thicker like this. So let's go with a 1.3. Let's move it up a little bit like so, and now I'm gonna go and add a mirror modifier. Yep, and I want it to be mirrored on the y-axis. That's exactly what I want. And now I can just take care of the model itself. So what do we have right now? I'm gonna go with this edge until we hit the margins like that. I'm now going to extrude this and scale it up on all axes except the Y axis. I'm gonna extrude it again in this direction. You know what, I'm not gonna do that, sorry. So I'm just going to extrude it in that direction. I'm gonna go until it goes over the edge like so, as you can see over here. So I'm gonna move it a little bit to the sides again, and yeah, I think that's all right. Is there anything else we want to do? Yes, there is. Let's move this a little bit back, and now let's just extrude this and scale it up on all axes except for the Y axis, and now extrude it a little bit into that direction. I'm over the edge, so I'm fine. Let's just go into the side view, press T, and now I'm just gonna spin this 90 degrees so we can have that curve into the ground. So with our edge selected, go into this view and just go with a spin like this. Alright guys, so I'm back now. I had to redo the last things we did because my Blender crashed for apparently absolutely no reason, which is fine. Yeah, alright, so save up your project so you don't have to do shit again if your Blender crashes. And we were over here, so get out of edit mode, select everything like this arm, and apply the rotation and scale. Now we can go back into edit mode. Make sure we have this icon, what's this, like show gizmo stuff enabled. I always disable it, but if you want to use those tools you need to this enabled in order to see, well, the gizmo. Alright, move into the side view, and I'm gonna go with a spin. I want to spin it on what direction, like this. Yeah, so just go 90 degrees. Where do I see that? Or can I play around with that? You know what, yeah, like this number. Yeah, this is the guy. Alright, yeah, okay, found it. So just go with 90 degrees or minus 90 degrees depending on your angle. And now I'm just gonna reduce the Z in the center. Actually no, I'm just gonna make it like 0.55 and then do a 0.75 on this. Make this even bigger, like so. Yeah, let's do a 1. Alright, sorry. Yeah, so 1.5. Is this doing anything? Nope, not gonna touch that one. And yeah, I think this is alright. Now I can go back into normal mode and extrude this last part downward like this. And now we have our precious arm, which I'm going to shade smooth like this, and I'm gonna add a couple of details in here. So first of all, remember that I told you to not do anything to this edge, and the reason for that is because we're gonna select it right now, go Ctrl B to bevel it up to get another face like this. And now I'm going to extrude this like so. Yep. Let's see what kind of details we have around here. We have some little patches, I see, and let's do that by selecting this, and I'm gonna extrude this even more outwards. so a little bit like this. I'm now gonna select all of those, and I'm gonna go with double I. Actually, no, you know what? Let's do a loop cut in here. Let's bevel it like this, and now do a double Y onto those, and now extrude everything. So press Alt E, extrude faces along normals, and you're gonna get this stuff coming out like this, which is nice. And what else? Let's do a cut over here, bevel it like this, and I'm gonna do the same. So select those faces, double I to insert them like this, and you know what, let's just extrude those outwards like before, so like this. And what else do we want? You know what, let's do another cut over here, bevel this out like so, move it a bit downwards, scale it a bit like this, and extrude this outwards like so, even more. Let's let it be a fat boy like that. All right, so we have this going on right now. I'm gonna do a Ctrl 2 to add a subdivision surface on those, and I'm gonna do a little bit of work to get some sharper edges. So I'm gonna do a loop cut in the middle, and I'm gonna bevel it, and I'm gonna go close to the edges so I get a more sharper edge like that. I'm gonna add another loop cut down below over here. That's right. I'm gonna do a loop cut over all of those to make them a little bit longer like that. I'm gonna add another loop cut over here. Let's do another loop cut close to this edge on both sides, kind of like that. Right, another loop cut over here, and we end up with something like this, which is not looking bad at all. All right, I think at this point, now that we have pretty much the whole scene done, I can just take the camera and move it a little bit more to what I want. So perhaps something like this is pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's all right. I'm gonna stop moving the camera. I'm gonna jump out of it. All right, so we have this going on. So now that we've taken care of the background, let's connect everything and make them to a slope, so be inclined like that, like we've talked before. So first of all, I want to get all of those and make them one single object. So I'm gonna pair everything, pipes with pipes, and I'm gonna do those as well. So I'm gonna select everything and I'm gonna go with Ctrl J. Now everything is easier to manipulate, as you can see. And what I'm gonna do is select the plane. I'm gonna press Shift S. Oh, and you don't see the keys I'm pressing anymore because I've opened up Blender again, so sorry about that. Okay, so let's do it like this. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so select the plane and do a Shift S, cursor to select it, so we have our 3D cursor right on that origin. And now I'm gonna do a Shift A and create an empty right there. And now I can select the plane, the lights, the pipes, and then the empty, and I'm gonna do Ctrl P and set parent to object, and now I can manipulate this and everything else will follow. So now I can rotate this like 15 degrees, let's say, and let me move it where it needs to be moved. So yeah, something like this maybe. Yep, that's fine. Everything's looking really nice. And in the original render I've got some lights over here, but the way the camera is positioned right now you can't really see the lights. But right now that I'm thinking about it, those lights are going to light up at some point, and I would like the light to be visible around here, so you're gonna see the light bouncing off. So I'm gonna take some of those lights, I'm gonna duplicate this, I'm gonna do an Alt P and clear the parent, and now into edit mode I'm just gonna select one of them and invert the selection and delete everything, and now I have only one object which I'm going to place where it needs to be placed. So over there, yeah, something like that. Just make sure it is inside the plane, and I'm gonna copy it a couple of times like so. All right, and I think that at this point we have our scene completely finished. This is how it is looking in the material view. Pretty nice. Yep, so this is the scene for now. All right, let's move on and tackle the cloth simulation and the overall animation. Alright guys, so to start with the animation, so let's just make sure we tackle the most important thing, and that is the cloth simulation for now. So let's see, let's do a plane, let's create a plane, and this is a 2x2 plane which is pretty big. Let's move it up until it sits on our tracks like so. Yep. Scale it down. Yeah, that's about right. Go into edit mode. You are gonna need to add some geometry to this, because otherwise cloth simulation will look like shit if you don't have enough geometry for it to work with. Go into the modifiers, add a solidify modifier, and this is gonna give some depth to our pill. I'm gonna make this 0.02 like this. I'm gonna move it up a little bit so that stuff doesn't is sitting right above the tracks. All right, now if I go into the physics tab and apply cloth, and now I play the animation, you see that this guy falls down. But if you go down and enable pressure and add some kind of pressure, so let's add 8, you can see what's going on. It the pillow is gonna blow up like this, which is it's really nice. I'm also gonna add a control 1, so I'm adding a first of all, let's just apply the solidify, and I've added a subdivision level of 1 and make sure that's above the cloth modifier, and now there's some more geometry for it to work with, and it's looking even better. And if you turn up some more, you get even more detail. Alright, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm gonna keep it at level 1 so we can move faster. Alright, so I've got this guy, and what I want to do right now is select the, like the track that it's sitting on, and I'm gonna go into the physics tab and I'm gonna enable collision, and that will make sure that this pillow will stop falling through to the void, and it's gonna sit nicely on this guy. So now if I play this, you see it puffs up and then it sits quietly on the track. So poof. Yep, that's nice. All right, so we've got that going on, which is really nice. But right now I want to make sure that we have the edges, so these points are completely set into the ground, so they don't so the pillow doesn't go up like this as you've seen it. And to do that, just make sure you get all the points like this and go into this tab, the object data properties, go to what is it, vertex group, add a new group and assign those points to that group. And now if we go to our cloth simulation, somewhere we have like, all right, where was that? Vertex group, we can do a group like this. I think that's what I need to do. Nope, that's not exactly not what I need to do. What I need to do is there's a property called bean or something like that. If I can find it, it's not in the cache. Yeah, in the shape tab over here, there's a pin group. Select the vertex group that we have just selected, and as you can see now it's completely hooked up in there, but it looks like shit, so we need to work on that. Alright, so I've played around with this stuff a bit because it wasn't looking quite right. So what I ended up doing is I've increased the subdivision level to about 3, and keep in mind that the more subdivision levels you have, the more pressure you gotta apply in order for it to look right. So I went ahead and did a 100 pressure. And another thing I've done is so go to edit mode, select everything, go back here, remove all the points from that group and only select the ones that are down, so not the ones that are up like this, and only assign those 4. And now if I play the simulation, it looks something like this, and this is what we wanted. It looks a little bit messed up on the edges, but don't worry about that. If we go ahead and add another subdivision surface, it's gonna look better, but we only keep that for the end. So I'm taking this off from real time and I'm gonna keep it to the render only. So yep, let's just go back, and I'm gonna want this to start from frame 0. Alright, so this is the basics of what we do to the pillow for it to jump up and be doing awesome and cool stuff. This is how our scene is looking at the moment. It looks pretty cool even in all white in the viewport. In the material view, it's looking pretty fun like this. Yep. Alright, so let's move on and do some other stuff. So for now, what I want to do is, now that I know the settings that I need to do in this, I'm gonna take out the cloth because I don't want it to disrupt my animation process. And what I want to do right now is I'm gonna copy some of those like this, because I'm gonna move all of this track to the right, and I want to have enough blocks so they don't get out, so they fill the frame basically. Right, so I take all of those, and what I want to do is go over here, cursor selected, add another empty plane axis like this. I'm gonna select all of those so all of those. Then I'm gonna select the plane, Control P, object, and now I can use the empty to move those. And that's really nice. Yep. Alright, that's cool. What I want to do now is, so we basically have one pillow in the middle of each block like this. So what I want to do is I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna move it 2 meters to the left. And this is why at the beginning I said that it is important to have exact measurements, because right now we can move everything 2 meters to each side and we basically end up in the same spot. So if I select this, which controls all of those, let's select everything so I can move them at all completely. Alright, so if I'm in the camera view, all I have to do in order to make sure that this is going to loop perfectly and everything ends up where it began is to just move everything 2 meters to the side. So if I move that 2 meters to the right, I end up with another pillow exactly in this part where that pillow used to be. So yep, let's see, I move these 2 meters and now I end up exactly where I was. And animating this to be a loop is so easy right now. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is copy this again, 2 meters like that, and I think I'm gonna go one more. So we have 4 pillows and I think that's enough. That's enough stuff for us to work with. Yeah, I think that's cool. Let me think about it a little bit. I think I want to move the camera a bit because, as you can see that in this part here there's no pillow, but if I move this 2 meters to the side, there's going to be a pillow, and I think that's gonna mess up our looping animation. But let me see that later on. All right. Yeah, sure. Okay. I forgot about another thing. I forgot about this little stuff here with the light on, and so let's just take care of that. I'm gonna add another cylinder like this. Make sure the pivot's on the bottom. Make it smaller and make it thinner like so. Yeah, that's all right. I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter like that so it stays in the frame. Now I'm gonna select the top edge and I'm gonna create, you know what, there's always an easier way to do that. I'm just gonna add a round cube. Yeah, and what I want to do, actually I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna add cursor to selected to this selection. All right, and now I'm gonna add a round cube and I'm gonna delete all the faces from the bottom like this. And you know what, I can move this, rotate this like so. Now I can make it smaller like this, put it on top, and we have a nice object right over there. And here it looks like that, which is quite alright. And in there I'm going to place another round cube that's gonna be another light. So just go like this, make it smaller until it fits that stuff over there. So yep, that's pretty alright. I'm gonna select this, I'm gonna add a solidify modifier, put that on top, I guess. Now put it on the bottom, and and I'm gonna make this smaller, like so. Do another loop cut in there, and now we have this nice shape like this. And now everything is fine. All right, it's good. So this is where we are right now, and we can start animating the tracks and the pillows. And one more thing is I'm gonna select the pillows. I'm gonna parent those to the empty as well, so now I can move everything and everything stays connected. All right, so I want this animation to be 10 seconds, and I actually want 15 seconds because I want it to move for 5 seconds, so I can then cut it and keep only 10 seconds of it. This is what I'm thinking. So I've got 30 FPS frames per second. That means 10 seconds is 300, but I want 5 seconds extra, so I'm gonna do a 450 like so. And yep, I'm actually gonna go with 451 to account for my last frame. Alright, things are moving nicely, and let's see. So we start from here, and I'm now going to enable this auto king. And so I've got this this empty selected, and if I press G to move it and then just press click, it does a keyframe right there. I'm gonna keep it for about 40 seconds. I'm gonna press G again, click, and by this time this pillow is gonna fluff up, it's gonna blow up, and then I want to move it to the left 2 meters like that. All right, so we have this for now. Poof. And now this pillow is gonna blow up and keep that going on. So we had that going for 40 seconds, 100, 140, add another keyframe, go 200 like this, move it by 2 meters again, and this is what we get so far. So it blows up, it goes to the next pillow, this one blows up, it goes next, it goes to the next one, blows up, it'll go to the next one, and so on. Let me just grab this again, go to 240, keep it here, go to 300 and move 2 meters over there. Alright, I'm gonna select all the keyframes, I'm gonna press T and go with the Bezier curve, so everything is not so rigid and the movements are a little bit softer. So this is how the animation looks like right now. As you can see, the tracks are moving a little bit softer, smoother, which is always really nice. All right, and everything, all we have to do right now is pretty much have all those pillows blow up and make sure it looks all right. So for that, so this one has collision turned on, so we should do the same thing for each one of the track pieces that have a pillow on top of it. All right, and do the same for this one because I want the pillow to collide with it, so add collision to this one as well. And now go to the first pillow, add a cloth simulation stuff on it, go to pressure, Subdivision is set to level 3, which is nice, and I want a 1 subdivision. Go back in here, choose the pin group like so. Now do like a 100 pressure, and let's see what's going on. So this one is blowing up. It is gonna move like shit, of course, but you know, just wait for it. Now it's gonna move. It's gonna collide with that one. Let's make sure that there's room for it to collide. Yeah, that's enough room. So it goes like that. It's gonna collide with that arm, as you can see. And then it goes on the other side. Yep, and now it's gonna be time for this one to do the same thing, and so on. So let's just do a quick test right now. I'm gonna add some more pressure to this one, and I want the cache to be like, okay, it starts from frame 0, so as soon as the animation starts, and I want it to go until it hits frame 120. And let's bake this and see what we get. Alright guys, that small baking has finished, so let's hit play and see what we got. So this one blows up, it moves to the right, and it stops over there. It's fine. This should blow up as well, and you know, keep going over and over again. So we got that. All right, let's look from this angle as well. It blows up. I think 40 frames is quite long for just staying here and looking at it, because by the time it hits 40, this is well blown up, and you can just divide that time by 2 and make it move to the next one after just 20 frames. So right about now it starts moving to the next one. Alright, so I'm gonna delete the bake because we're gonna do changes and it doesn't matter anymore. Alright, so fuck it. Okay, so select our empty, go in here, select everything but the first one, and go -20. Select this one, go -20. Then select this and go -20. So in the end we have this going on. So I'm waiting for 20 seconds, 20 frames, then move. Okay, 20 frames again, move. 20 frames again, and I want this to be moving faster. So from 20 to 80, that's 60. Let's just do -20 on everything. So everything is just moving a little bit faster, like so. Alright, so I'm waiting for 20 seconds, 20 frames. This is moving a little bit faster, 20 frames. Then 40 for the movement, another 20 frames, another 40. Yep, this is alright. And before I go ahead and do the cloth stuff, let's do a little bit of rigid body stuff. So as you could probably see at the beginning, when this animation is playing, there are some balls that are falling around in the background. Nothing too crazy, but it adds a little bit of dynamics. So yeah, let's just create a bunch of spheres, round cubes. so, and make those smaller and have them fall from the sky like so. Make sure they're on top of our plane, and add a rigid bodied component to this one. Set the collision shape to mesh. The mass doesn't really we don't really care about that. And now just copy those around. So, yep, a bunch of balls that are gonna fall down, as you can see. And in order to have them collide with this stuff around here, you need to select every single one of the colliding mesh, add a rigid body and make it a passive rigid body. So do that for all 3 of those objects, like so. And now if I play the animation, you're gonna see everything is fine, and we get that nice shit going on. So this is how it looks from the camera view. Do some stuff. Okay, so this is what we end up with. And if I play the animation, you're gonna see the balls falling around. And you can see 1, 2, and 3. I think I'm gonna move them a little bit closer to this area, because those 2 are completely useless because I can't even see them. So I'm gonna place them like so. Maybe this one over here, maybe this one over there. And let's see what we have now. I'm actually going to change this so I can see where those balls are headed outside of the view. So I have some going on like that, which is fine. And I'm also going to make them one be a little bit more distant, one is closer, so they don't all fall at the same time. I'm gonna add a little bit of more of those. Yep. Now if I play it, yeah, I get something like this, and everything's fine. Another thing I want to do is make sure that the collisions on those are set to mesh, because I want them to collide correctly with everything. So now if I go, they're going to bounce on those lights, and that's exactly what I wanted in the first place. Yeah, kind of like that. And I think that's all the balls we have. There's one more over there, but I don't think that's gonna do much. It just sits there. Let's see why. Yeah, it just gets stuck, so I'm gonna delete it. I don't care about it. Yep. So everything is fine for now. So let's just do our do 180, because I know where that's where the animation is ending. Yeah, all right. Just make sure you have instead of 180, you go 181. And no, you go 180, but the last frame you don't put it on 180, you put it on 181, because this last frame is exactly the same one as the first frame, so frame 0. And when you're gonna loop them, so when you put them one after the other, if you have this frame on frame 180, you're gonna end up with a double frame So you're gonna have frame 0 after frame 180, and it's gonna be the same frame. So just make sure you have the last frame, one frame after the timeline has finished. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, so I hope it does the same in yours. Alright, we are moving along nicely. Yep. Okay. So what else? Let us deal with the cloth simulation for now, and yeah, you know what? Just select the first pillow, go cloth, do pressure. I'm gonna go 130, and I'm gonna bake from 0 until the end. So 180. Yep. But no, actually, just keep that off. What the fuck have I done? Okay, so keep that off, and let's see when every single one of those pillows needs to blow up. So this needs to blow up on frame 0. Okay, the next one needs to blow up on frame 60. The next one needs to blow up on frame 120. So every 60th frame we need to do this. And this one is gonna be actually the first one. So you know what, let's do another one of those just to make sure. Yeah, like that. And do another pass. So go to the end. No, do 20 frames, add another keyframe, and then 240, move it 2 meters to that side. All right, now we have everything done. I'm gonna do 240, and I'm gonna move this one by 1 frame to the right. And I think everything is quite nice for now. I can also go ahead and bake the rigid body animation. So if you go into this tab, you have rigid body world, and you go cache. I want it to start from frame 0 until 240, and I'm just gonna bake this whole rigid body simulation, and then we don't have to worry about it. It's not gonna hit our performance anymore in the viewport, and everything's gonna move really nice. All right, so now if we look at our animation, we get this stuff, which is pretty cool. All right, we got it. Stuff is moving. Cool. Let's finally deal with the pillows, and yeah, this is the pillows. So every 60th frame, this is gonna blow up. So cloth, once again, starts from 0 until the end. I want pressure. I want 130, and go into the shape and add the pin group. Okay, now moving to the next one. Does this have a vertex group? It does. Let's make sure everything is fine. So just select the 4 bottom points like so, assign them to the group. Assign those to the group. I'm doing this because I don't know when I copied them, so I don't know what kind of changes they were present to or weren't, so I'm just gonna make sure everything is fine. All right, so the first one is set. It has a cloth simulation. Go to the next one. So it starts from frame 60 until to 40. Pressure, the same amount of pressure, and shape the group. Next one exactly the same, so 120 to 40, shape and pressure 130. Next one, cloth 180 to 40, group, pressure 130. And the last one we don't need to, because when this gets in front of the camera, the animation stops and it loops back to the first one, and the first one is gonna take care of making you feel like the animation is continuing. All right, you got the idea. Let's give it a go. It's gonna move like shit, but I wanna see how everything is looking like. So this pillow blows up. It's like, oh yeah, I'm alive right now. Now we go to the right, and it gets pushy push by the little arm. It goes to the right. That's fine. Now we have this little guy. It says, oh, it's my time now. Oh, cool shit, man. I'm blowing up, like Logic said it in his song. Now I'm gonna go to the right because that's the way to go. And another pillow comes in and is like, oh wait, am I gonna go and be blown up the same as my brothers? I don't fucking know. I can't wait to see it. And it's like, he's here and it says, oh shit, I feel it, and it goes like boom. Oh man, this is really cool. Yeah, you get the idea. Everything is working. That's what I wanted to point out. So as we saw, everything is fine, so we can go ahead and just get rid of those, like so. Yep. And yeah, select all of them and just bake in our cloth simulation. This is gonna take like a couple of minutes, maybe like 5 minutes for all of them, so I'm gonna see you when that's done. Alright, you guys, so I just finished up baking all of those cloth simulations. So our animation so far looks like this. So we've got the first one, this rolls in, balls come falling on the background, next one, and now the next one, and so on. Okay, so right now there is a problem, and that main problem is that our animation is not looping. So if I go to the end over here and I play it, you're gonna see that it's not looping. Did you see how that this pillow disappears from here? That's because at the beginning we don't have any pillow on that side. So when our animation starts again, that pillow goes away. And the reason I've added more pillows than I need is because now what I want to do is, instead of starting the animation from 0, so from here, I'm gonna actually start the animation from when the second pillow gets blown up. That way I have a pillow over here, which is this one. So I'm gonna move and then I'm find the frame where this pillow comes in and starts puffing up, and that's frame 60. I know that. So like this, and I'm actually gonna start the animation from frame 60. So the animation starts like this, and now we have a pillow over here, and that's exactly what we wanted. Now we are gonna see a problem, and the problem is that by the 60th frame, so this frame right here, we already have these balls rolling in the background, but they are not in the final part of the animation. So again, it's not gonna loop correctly because those balls are just gonna spawn at the beginning. As you can see, it goes and those balls appear out of nothing, and that's definitely not what we want. So what I want to do right now is, okay, so the balls take around 150 frames to completely fall and go out of the frame. So what I want to do is basically just go into my rigid body stuff and delete our bake. What? No, fuck it, I've pressed bake by accident, and now I gotta wait a little bit. But yeah, don't do what I did, just delete the bake. Yeah, right, delete the bake, and now those balls, let's go like this and make sure so go back to frame 0, make sure they're in the air, and make the simulation start at frame 60 instead of 0, and the same for timeline. And now we can bake this animation, this rigid body simulation, and in theory it should work out exactly how we want it. So let's just wait for this to finish and see what we get. Right now, if I jump back into the camera, everything should be moving all right, and the animation should be looping perfectly, and it doesn't. Why the fuck does it not do that? Yeah, alright guys, I figured it out. Just go ahead and remove rigid body world from here, and unfortunately now you just have to, so let's make this start from frame 60. Now we just have to go through all the balls and this stuff and add a rigid body component once again. So rigid body, shape mesh, rigid body mesh, rigid body mesh, and you get the idea. Just keep doing this again and again. I know this is completely boring and not fun at all, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do in order to make things work the way you want it. So yeah, add rigid bodies to all of those, rigid body and another rigid body finally. Yep, that's alright. Rigid body, type passive to those, passive, and passive one more time. And before you do anything else, go into this tab and make sure simulation starts at frame 60 and ends at the end 240. Now we can bake this simulation and everything's gonna look correct and fine, and everything's gonna be fun again, so the way we want it to be. Yep, it's finished, and now I can finally check out the animation. So we have that, balls are gonna start rolling in just like that. It's fine, and they get out of the way until the end, so we should have a perfect loop right now. Yep, we have a perfect loop. As you can see, everything is nice and satisfying. Alright, and this has been all with the animation, so we have everything working out really nicely. So let's go into the next part and deal with lighting and making things look pretty. Alright, see you. Alright, so just getting back, let's move into lighting and making everything look really nice. Alright, so right now our scene is looking like shit, so it's looking like this. There's no light, there's nothing. I'm using Eevee right now, but after we get our lights into the scene and the materials, I'm just gonna switch back to cycles, but let's just use Eevee for now because it's quicker. First thing I'm gonna do is add an environment texture, and I'm gonna use an HDRI for that. So let me just look for an HDRI I have on my computer. So HDRIs, alright. Let's try a couple of those. I like this one so far. I think this is cool as well. It's got a nice warm color to it, but let's go with this one for now and see how everything's looking like. I'm going to the shading tab, change this to world, go Ctrl T on this, right, and now I can rotate my HDRI map to see how things are looking. If I rotate this, just gonna keep it normally and gonna play with that later on when I'm adding some materials. Alright, so we have this right now. I'm probably gonna copy the colors from my original render, but what you want to do right now, so this is a kind of stylized render. We're not going for realistic for a realistic look, so the most important things are gonna be colors, and the way I recommend you do colors is by going onto Google, go like color like this, and just get a nice color scheme from here. So if I go with a complementary color or triad, just move this along and choose a primary color. So let's say you want to have a little bit of some green in your color scheme, and this guy just giving you other colors that work with that color. Another way you can do this is just go with generate color scheme like this, and one I like to use is colormine.io. so you can go onto this website and it generates color schemes for you. So just hit generate and until you find something that you like, and you can use those colors and things are gonna look pretty cool. So why not just do that and use this as our colors. Alright, if it doesn't work out, I'll just move on and copy this, but let's just give it a try. There's no harm in doing that. So I'm gonna select first piece of track, go to materials, I'm gonna call this track. I'm gonna copy the color value of this color. I think this is a good color for the tracks, and I'm gonna paste it in here like so, and I'm gonna do roughness, small roughness like 0.1 or 0.2. I think 0.1 is pretty nice. Metallic, how is that looking? That's interesting, but not exactly what I want. Okay, let's select all those pieces and make sure they use the same material. So just do material like this. All right. Let's see, what color do you want this arm to be? Let's try this red color and see. Robo, it's gonna be the name of this one. I don't know why. Yeah, this is looking pretty nice. Let's see. I think this is gonna be a little more rough, so perhaps 0.4. Like this is quite interesting, and these little pieces are gonna share the same material. Yeah, exactly. Alright, what else? I think that I want those pipes to share the material of this one. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. And the same for those. So to like that. Yeah, that's already looking pretty interesting. What else? I think I want the pillows to be like this bluish color. So I'm gonna name this pillow. And I'm gonna add this color. And now I'm gonna select all my pillows and make them share that material like that. And this can be pretty rough, like a 0.4. I don't want this to be too shiny. Let's see. What else do we want? I think that the color of the background can be the same as this one. That's looking interesting. Yep, like this. Alright, let's try a different color. See if it looks better like that. So just call this background and let's see how it is looking with this color instead. It could work. I'm gonna keep it like this, and if I change my mind, I'll just change it back to the track material. Another thing I want to do before I go into the next step is I want to add some beveling to those. So I'm gonna go and add a bevel modifier. I'm gonna do like 6 segments. I think that's enough. I'm gonna select all the track pieces like so, and then select the last one, and I'm gonna go Ctrl L and apply the same stuff to it, and just make sure everything is shade smooth like so. Alright, and next material is the lights. Yeah, so I'm gonna go create like lights. Yep. And this is it's gonna be a class material, so I'm gonna go transmission 1, roughness really low, so 0.02, something like that. And let's do a red color like so. Yeah, that's interesting. Do the same for this guy. And let's go ahead and switch to cycles and see how everything's looking like. So I'm gonna go cycles and let's see how things are looking. They're not that interesting. If you want my honest opinion right now. So let's just play around some more with the lighting. Let's try another lighting situation. This one is not interesting either. No, let's keep it at the first one, and let's just rotate this around and see what we get. You want to play around with shadows and highlights. I think I like -90 the best. See what else. I want to go into color management, use some curves, add some contrast to this. Perhaps something like that. Yeah, it's looking a little bit better. I still need to play around with the lighting because it is looking like shit so far. And no one likes shit. Let's see how everything's looking like if I do the same material for the tracks. I guess I like that a little bit better. Yeah. And I'm not really sure about the brown color. Let me try something else. Just play around and see what works. The blue looks a little bit more fun. And what if I do this color for the pillow? Let's see what we get. Nah, I'm not really liking this. Let's try another color scheme, and if we don't find anything interesting and it's still looking like shit, I'm gonna go with what I know works. just to be safe. Come on, give me something that looks interesting. This is not that colorful, but we can try it. Let's see what we get. Right, so we have this. I think that our robo guy can be a dark color, like this, and I think the darkest color can be this one, so we have some contrast. Let me like this. I don't really like that dark color. Let's try the dark color on those parts, and perhaps this color on to this guy. This one, because that's quite dark and I don't like it. It can work. Not really a fan of it. I kind of like this color scheme a little bit more, but I also don't think I want to change it because I'm quite lazy and I want to get this tutorial done. I'm gonna make this 0.2 like so in the roughness. Let's try a more vibrant color on the pillow, like you had stuff like this, maybe even more saturated, just so it grabs our attention. And I'm gonna turn those, make those darker so they're not grabbing our attention that much. What if I make this like white? Nah, that's not quite interesting. Yeah, let's keep it in a red hue like this. I think that's alright, I guess. Yeah. Before I go and work the lighting a little bit more, there's something we still need to animate, and that is the lights going off when the pillow is in the frame. It blows up. So we have to go into the shading. Let's just separate this and look only on those. Come to the object and pull up a timeline over here. So we have this, and now we can do an emission. So actually, you know what, let's do a mix shader on this. Let me try something first. Let's see what works best. I do an emission of red like so. Do 5. Yeah, that seems to blow up like that. We go dark again, but 1. Yeah, we can do that. All right. So select this principal node and make sure you have auto keying turned on. We're on the frame 60, and we are gonna go like this. So I'm gonna press hover over the emission, press I, That's gonna create a keyframe. And do the same for the alpha. Then I'm gonna move 3 frames. Let's go 4 frames to the right. I'm gonna press I again on the color, and I'm gonna make it red like this, and then press I again on the alpha and make it 5. And this is basically gonna create an animation like this. Yep, we got that. And it goes until the 80th. So let's move to the 75 frame, add another keyframe right there. And now I'm just gonna select the first keyframes and copy them 20 frames over. So we end up with this. Opens up and then it goes back down. Alright, and we are gonna do this for all the pillows. So we have one that blows up at frame 60, we have another one that blows up at frame 120, and then we have another one that blows up at frame 180. So I'm just gonna copy those again. 60, yeah. And then we will have one again at 240, but that's just gonna loop. So this is all we need. So now if you take a look like this, we have the lights going off, they turn back down, we move. Oh, we now have the balls, which I forgot to make a material for. Alright, so let's see how everything's looking like in here. Let's make a material for the balls. So balls, yeah, like that. Select everything and do a materials over all of them. So now we have some stuff like this. Yep, that's all right. Let's go a little bit over here and let's choose a color for these guys. Let's make them a little bit shiny. Like that. And what color can we do on them? Let's do a bluish color like that. That's all right. We can even make them black or something. Let's see. Nah, I don't like that. I'm gonna keep them bright and colorful. Yep, that's pretty much what I want for these guys. And what's up with those? They don't have a material, so I'm gonna make them one single object and add the lights material. Yep, that's fine. Now I see a ball that doesn't have a material, so this is balls. Yeah, and let's go into render mode and see what we have over here. So as I said before, you can see the light reflecting in here, so that's why I've added those lights even though we cannot see them. Yeah, I think this is everything. Kind of want to play around with the color of this guy a little bit. I think I'm gonna make this a bluish color like that. Yep, don't really know. Make it a little bit darker. And I'm gonna change the color of those to be what? We can do some yellow, I don't know. We can do some orangish color like that, I guess. It's alright. And let's add some more lights into the scene so we can create a little bit more of a dynamic look. So for that, I'm gonna create an area light. So light, area light, and first of all I'm gonna place one, make size double like so. I'm gonna place it somewhere over here, I guess. I want it like so, like this. Let's turn off everything and only see this side. I'm gonna make it stronger, so let's go with a 300, 500 even. Yeah, all right. Let's copy this light and place it like so. Now we have something like that. And let's do another light over here, I guess. Move that a bit downwards and make that a little bit stronger. Yeah, that seems fine. And let's see what we get when those lights turn on as well. Not that much, but it's alright. Okay, so let me just choose, turn off the lights that I've added and add some color to them one by one. I want this to be kind of a teal color. I want this main one to be a warm color, perhaps something like that. Maybe it's a little bit too saturated, but I'm gonna take care of that and do some blue on that one as well. And now if I turn on the light, let's see what we get, and make this a little bit like that. I like the fact that I've got some more shadows going on. Let's try a different kind of HDR and see what we get. Alright guys, so I played around with lighting and all that stuff, and in the end I decided to take out all of the area lights that I've added previously because I didn't like how it looked, and instead I've just went ahead and used a single HDRI. I've added that to be a strength of 1.1, and pretty much this is what we get. And another thing I've done is I've added this empty object right here in the middle, and I'm using that in order to pull focus on the camera. So turn on depth of field and choose focus object to be the empty object you've just added. I'm using an f-stop of 0.5 and a number of blades of 6, and this is what we end up with, which is pretty alright, I think. In the end I decided to change the colors to be similar to what I had originally, so I've made those track yellow and all that other stuff, just kind of matched the colors, and this is what we end up with. I think this is all for the tutorial. I don't think I forgot anything. I've been recording for 2 hours, so it's, I know, maybe I forgot something. I don't think I did. But yeah, this is the animation, and this is how I've done everything. So we have the lights. This is blowing up. It moves to the right. Balls are falling in the background, and we have a nice little animation in here. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed working with me on this animation and you found it useful. helpful, and most importantly fun and creative. Yep. I mean, this is all. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is all for this week. I'm gonna see you all next week with the new tutorial.